Hello everyone, welcome to today's session of Unix System Programming. So we will be discussing about the module 2 of Unix System Programming, that is Unix files, and in the previous session we were discussing about the different Unix file APIs. Okay, so we have already seen the different Unix files. They are regular files and then device files, directory files, symbolic link files and FIFO files. We were discussing the APIs which are available for manipulation of these different types of files. So in the previous session we have discussed about the open API and the create API. Okay, so in today's class we will discuss some more APIs that are used to manipulate the different types of files in the Unix operating system. Okay. So we are discussing about the read system call, or nothing but the read API. As the name itself says, this is used to read the content from a file. Okay, so how actually the operation takes place? This read API will read fixed size of block of data from a file that is referenced by the given file descriptor. Okay, so it reads fixed block of data from a file. Okay, so this is the prototype. So we have ash include sysbar types.h and then unistd.h, and this is the file prototype. So read is the name of the, this is the name of the function. Okay, so it has 3 arguments or 3 parameters, and the return type is of type size_t. Okay, and 3 arguments are file descriptor and then buffer and then n byte. So here the return value will be, so the return value of read API will be the number of bytes that is read from a file. So it contains the number of bytes that is read from a file if it is successful. Okay, if there is any error of or if it is unsuccessful, in that case this function will return the value -1. Okay, so -1 in case of any errors or in case of failure. So this is the return value of the function or the API read. Okay, so next we have 3 arguments. The first one is a file descriptor. Okay, so since we are reading a fixed block of data from a file, we should refer to that corresponding file. So that can be passed as first argument. So that can be passed as first argument. So and we'll be passing the file descriptor. So this is the first argument. So that is nothing but the file descriptor. And second one, we have the buffer. So this is the buffer. So that is, so this buffer contains the data that will be reading from the file. So this buffer is used to hold the data that is read from a file. Okay, and next third one is n byte. N byte specifies the number of bytes that has to be read from a file. Okay, n byte specifies the number of bytes. So totally there are 3 parameters, and then the return type is size_t. So this return type size_t is defined under sysbar types.h. So sysbar types.h. So that's the reason here sysbar types.h is included whenever we are making use of the API read. Okay, so along with this there are some more points that sometimes read operation might return number of bytes that is lesser than the expected value. Okay, there are 3 cases for that. There are several cases for that. Now let us look into those cases one by one. As I said, there are several cases that causes to return a lesser value than the expected value during the read operation. The first case is whenever the file is a regular file, the file is regular file and the file has already reached the end of file, it has reached the end of file. Okay, and then the read operation is performed even though the file has reached the end of file. For example, let us say that a file is of 30 bytes. Okay, let us assume that the file is of 30 bytes and this is the end of file, the end. Okay, so here the beginning part. So here, from here to here there is some content. Okay, let us say it is mentioned that the number of bytes, the third argument of the read API is 100 bytes. Okay, the third argument in the read API is nothing but the number of bytes that has to be read from a file. Okay, let us say we have taken it as 100 bytes. In this case, if we are calling the read system call on this file, it will return only 30 bytes because the file is of 30 bytes and it has already reached the end of file. So up to end of file it will return only the 30 bytes. But what we were expecting to read 100 bytes of data from this file, but anyways the file is already reached the end of file. That's the reason it returns the lesser value than that of that. Okay, this is one of the cases. And second case is if the file is terminal device file. Okay, if the file is terminal device file, so it will read one line at a time. Okay, that might be the reason if we are not getting or not reading the expected number of bytes from the file. So in case of terminal device file, so it will read only one line at a time. So that is the reason. And next, in case of network file, so it might read a value lesser than the mentioned value. So the reason is buffering in the network. Okay, if it is a network file, so since it is available in the network, there might be some issues with the network, some traffic jam with the network, and then due to the buffering within the network might cause the read operation to read lesser bytes of data than the specified number of bytes. Okay, and in case of FIFO file or pipe file, okay, in case of FIFO file or pipe file, if the pipe contains only the lesser amount of or lesser bytes of data than the specified bytes of data, in that case also the file might return the number of bytes lesser than the specified number of bytes. Okay, so these are the several cases if the read operation is not expecting the number of bytes and the read operation will cause the lesser number of bytes to be returned than the given or than the specified number of bytes in the read API. Okay, so now let us discuss the next API, that is write API. So the write system call, it is used to write data into a file. Okay, so here in if we are making use of write API, it will write a fixed block of data to a file that is referenced by the file descriptor. So this is the prototype. Here we have the two include statements and this is the function prototype. We have write, name of the function or name of the system call, and it has 3 arguments and the return type is size underscore t. So the return value of write system call is the number of bytes, that is the number of bytes that is written successfully to a file. Okay, if there is any error, it returns -1. If there is any failure, it returns -1. Okay, and we have 3 arguments. So these arguments are similar to the arguments which we have discussed in case of a read system call. The first one is file descriptor. So it is the file descriptor. Last class itself we have discussed, it's a unique number that uniquely identifies a file. Okay, so we have to pass the file descriptor as the first argument in order to specify the file to which the data has to be written. Okay, and second one is the buffer. So the second argument contains the address of the buffer which contains the data that has to be written into the file. Okay, so this buffer holds the data that has to be written into a file. So second argument contains the address of the buffer. And third argument, the size. Size specifies like how many bytes of data has to be written into the file. So third one is the size, like how many number of bytes or how many bytes of data written into a file. So these three are the arguments and this is the written value. So if everything goes successful, okay, so this system call returns the number of bytes that is successfully returned to the file. Okay, so this is all about write system call. And one more point here, again we have used the return type ssize_t and this is defined under sysbar types.h. That's why we have to include this header file whenever we are invoking the write system call. Okay, now let's move on to the next API. The next API or the next system call is close system call or close function. So as the name itself says, it is used to close an opened file. Okay, so this close API, it terminates the connection with the file. So this system call terminates the connection to a file from a process. Okay, so actually the process is the one that opens a file for execution, right? So this system call or this API, it will terminate the connection to the file from the process. Okay, so this is the prototype. We have include unist.h and then this is the function prototype. The name of the function is close. It accepts the one parameter, that is file descriptor, and the return type is integer. Actually this function, it returns 0 if it is executed successfully. Okay, it returns 0. If it is executed successfully. It returns -1 in case of any failure. Okay, so it returns -1 in case of any failure. And here the argument is only one argument, that is file descriptor. Okay, so using this file descriptor, the corresponding file will be closed or the termination with that file will be closed. The connection with that file will be terminated by the calling process. So this is how the close system call works. Actually whenever the close function is executed or close API is executed, so there are 2 points to remember. First one is it will free up all the file descriptors. Okay, the first point, it will free up all the allocated file descriptors. If you remember, we had already discussed that an open system call, like a Unix system, can open n number of files. That n value is decided by the manifested constant open_max. That means in the system, open_max number of files can be opened at a time. Okay, so this close system call will free up all the allocated file descriptors so that these file descriptors can be reused. Okay, and also the close function, it will deallocate all the allocated resources. Okay, it will deallocate all the resources such as file table entry, okay. So second point is the close function, it will deallocate all the allocated resources. So resources might be the file table entries, like that. Okay, so all resources will be freed up when the close system call is executed. That means everything will be closed. That means the file that is opened will be closed. So thereby we are freeing up the file descriptor by using this closed system call, and also we are deallocating the resources, and those file descriptors can be reused. Okay, so this is all about the close API or the close system call. API is fcontrol API. So this is represented like this, fcntl function. Okay, so this f control function, it is used to query or set the access control flags, and close on exec flag of a file descriptor. Okay, so file control, as the name itself says, it is mainly used for controlling the different operations within a file. Okay, so what will happen? So this function, it is used to query or set the access control flags of a file, or it is used to query or set the close on exec flag. Actually, this is a special type of flag, so that is used in order to check whether the opened file has to be closed on execution or not. Okay, if this flag is set, then the opened file will be closed immediately whenever that file has to be executed. If this flag is not set, in that case what will happen? Even though the opened file is getting executed, the file remains open as it is. So this is the importance of this close on exec flag. Anyways, this fcntl, this function, it is used to query or set the access control flag or the close on exec flag of a particular file that is referenced by a file descriptor. So this is the prototype. So this is the header file fcontrol.h, and the function prototype is like this. Name of the function fcntl, it has got the return type int. Okay, and there are two arguments. One is the file descriptor. So not two arguments, actually there are three arguments, 1, 2 and then 3. Okay, so first argument specifies to which file we have to perform these operations. Okay, so that can be specified by the corresponding file descriptor. So next, second parameter or second argument is command, which specifies what operation has to be performed or what action has to be performed. So the second argument cmd, it indicates what action or what operation to be performed. Okay, and third one, so this dot dot dot, this third argument is dependent on the command value. So the third argument is dependent on the second one, depends on second argument, that is the command value. Okay, now let us see what are all the possible command values that can be given for this f control function. So these are the possible command values that can be used as argument in the f control function. Okay, all these command values are defined under fcontrol.h header file. Okay, so all these command values are defined under fcntl.h header file. The first one, f underscore get fl, this is used to return, this value will return the access control flags of a file. Okay, so this returns the access control flags. Okay, the second option, the second command value, that is f underscore set fl, as the name itself says, it is used to clear or set the access control flag. It is used to clear or set the access control flags. Okay, so for setting, in order to set, we can use the value 1, and for clearing the flag we can make use of the value 0. Okay, next one, f underscore get fd, so this returns the close on exec flag of a file. Okay, this returns the close on exec, that is close on execute flag of a file. So next, set fd, so this is used to set or clear the close on exec flag of a particular file. Again here, if the value is equal to 1, then it will set the flag. If the value is 0, it will clear the flag. And last one, the last command value. So here it is f underscore dupfd, that is duplicate file descriptor. This is used to duplicate the file descriptor to another file. Okay, so this is used to duplicate the file descriptor. So totally there are 5 command values that can be given as argument to this one. As I said, this fcontrol function, it can be used to change the access control flag. Now let us see how we can change the access control flag. Let's take the example. So these two statements are used to change the access control flag of a file descriptor, okay, or specified a file that is specified by a file descriptor. So observe the first statement. Here I am calling the function fcontrol and I am passing the file descriptor followed by the command value f underscore get fl. So just now we have discussed that this command flag will return the access control flags of a file. Okay, so this will return the access control flag and that will be stored in a variable called current underscore flags. Okay, and in the second statement again we are invoking this fcontrol system call. Again we are making use of this fcontrol function, but in this case the first argument is file descriptor and the second argument fsetfl. So what does it mean? Here we are set or we are clearing the flags. Which flags? Access control flags. Okay, so now depending on this value I am passing the third argument. So this is the complete third argument. So what I am doing here I am changing the access control flag. Okay, so I am changing access control flag. Currently the current access control flags are stored in current underscore flags variable, so that is passed, and then bitwise OR. For that I am giving the option of O underscore append and O underscore non-block. So these two flags are already discussed in the previous session. Actually this flag, it is used to append the data to a file, and this flag will enable whether to block or unblock the read or write operation to a file. Okay, so these two options or these two flags are set to the current flags. Okay, so this is how we can change the access control flag by using fcontrol function. Okay, so now let us see how we can change the close on exec flag using the same fcontrol function. This is an example of how we can change the close on exec flag of a file that is referenced by the file descriptor. There are two statements. In the first statement, observe here, we are just printing the current close on exec flag. Okay, so here I am just saying a cout statement which is nothing but this statement is used to print in case of C++. You are already aware of that. Okay, so cout, I am just printing the file descriptor followed by the close on exec. I am just hard coding this, and in the next one I am just calling or invoking this fcntl, the fcontrol function. The first argument is the file descriptor and the second argument, that is the command value, I am passing the command value f underscore get fd. This returns the close on exec flag of a file. Okay, so next after this again I am invoking this fcontrol function. Okay, here for the corresponding file descriptor, next command value I am changing the close on exec flag. Since I am changing the close on exec flag, I have to make use of the command value f underscore set fd. Okay, and followed by 1. I told you already that either I can clear or set the close on exec flag. If I am clearing the flag, the value should be 0. If I have to set the close on exec flag, then the value should be 1. So here I am setting the value, so that's why I am passing 1 as the third argument. So this is an example we are setting that shows like how we are setting the close on exec flag. Okay, so now we'll take one more example. So that will change the standard input of a process into a file, okay, by using the same fcontrol function. This is an example like how the standard input to a process is changed to a file, okay. So here it has a few statements. Observe in the first statement, we are opening the file called foo, okay. Here I am changing the standard input, okay, standard input to a file called foo. Let the name be foo, the file name, okay. So here I am opening the foo file with the option read only, okay, and this returns the file descriptor. So after this I am closing 0. So 0 is the file descriptor value for the standard input and 1 is the file descriptor, default file descriptor value for the standard output, okay. So 0, this will close the actual standard input. So it will close the standard input, okay. So in the first statement I am opening the file foo, and in the second statement I am closing the current standard input. So my intention is to change the standard input for a process to a file. That means instead of the standard input, the process has to read from the file, okay. So that's why what should I do? First I have opened the file, and second step I have closed the standard input. I have closed the standard input. Next step, I am invoking the fcontrol function. I have passed file descriptor, and then I am duplicating this. I am duplicating this, okay, and then 0. So I am duplicating this file descriptor and with the value 0. So what will happen in this case? This file will be changed as standard input and the process will read from that file, okay. So what I am doing here, I will repeat once again, this fcontrol is the function. I am calling this, I am invoking this function, and I am passing the file descriptor as the first argument, and in the second argument I am passing the command value f_dupfd. So this command value will duplicate the file descriptor to 0, okay, it will duplicate it. And the third argument 0 specifies that instead of standard input, now file. So the standard input is replaced by the file. So this will be executed, okay. If it is -1, it is error, otherwise it is executed successfully. And in the next step I am creating a buffer, okay, and in the next step I am calling the read function. I am calling the read function. From where I have to read now? I have to read from the input file. So here I have duplicated the file descriptor as 0. So 0, from the file descriptor 0, if you remember in today's session itself we have discussed read function will take 3 arguments. First one is file descriptor, second one is the buffer, the address of the buffer, and the third one is the number of bytes, like how many number of bytes has to be read from a file, okay. So here I am duplicating the file descriptor with the value 0, right. So that's why I am passing the file descriptor value as 0, followed by the address of buffer. I have declared a variable called buffer, a string buffer, okay, character buffer, a string, and followed by the total number of bytes that can be read. So that is nothing but 256 I have taken. So this is how I can change the standard input of a process to a file. For example, I have considered here the file foo, okay. So again this fcontrol system call can be used to duplicate the file descriptor, right. So let us take the example. In Unix system there are 2 functions that are used to duplicate, okay, that are used for duplicate functions. So here one is duplicate and another one is duplicate 2. These 2 are the Unix functions. So fcontrol function can be used to implement these duplicate and duplicate 2 functions of the Unix system. So here I have used #define. For this function we can implement by using fcontrol. What I am doing here, I am duplicating the file descriptor. So that's why the option is f_dupfd followed by 0. Okay. So just now we have already discussed the same thing in the previous example. Okay. So this statement, actually this can be written in a single statement since the space is not available. So I have written in the next line, that's it. Okay. So as defined DUP file descriptor, this can be implemented by using fcontrol function with the first argument file descriptor. Since I am duplicating it, I am using the command value as f_dup fd and then followed by 0. Okay. Similarly, the duplicate to function can also be implemented by using fcontrol function. So as defined duplicate to file descriptor 1 comma fd2. Actually here the fd2 will be closed and then this file descriptor 1 will be duplicated. So this is the functionality of duplicate to function. So what will happen? The second file descriptor will be closed and for that file this will be duplicated. So this will be duplicated. So this is implemented by using fcontrol. So since I have to we have to close the fd2, so before fcontrol, first step fd2 is closed by using the close function. Okay. So after this fcontrol file descriptor 1 comma, we are duplicating it, right? So command value should be f_dup fd, okay, and the fd2 value. So this is how we can make use of fcontrol by in order to implement this duplicate and duplicate to functions of the Unix operating system. Now let's move on to the next system call or next API. So next function is lseek function. So this function, it is used to change the file offset to a different value. It is used to change the file offset to a different value. So what exactly a file offset? File offset is nothing but a pointer to particular position in a file. Okay. File offset is nothing but a pointer to a particular position in a file. This function is used to change the file offset to a different value. Okay. So it is mainly used to perform random access of data in a file. It is used to make random access of data in a file. So this is the prototype. We have to include statements sysbar types.h and unistd.h, and the name of the function is lseek. It takes 3 arguments. The first one is the file descriptor, position and then once. The return type is OFF_T that specifies the offset. If the function is executed successfully, then it returns the file offset, I mean changed file offset. It returns the updated file offset if it is executed successfully. If there is any error, it returns -1. Okay. In case of any failures, it returns -1. There are 3 parameters. The first one is file descriptor. So we already know that. So this is the file descriptor of a file on which we have to perform this lseek operation or lseek function. Okay. And the second one is position. Actually it specifies the value that has to be added to the reference location. So this has to be added to the reference location. Okay, that position will be passed as second argument, and the third argument is the whence value. Actually there are 3 possible values for whence. So these are the possible whence values. Okay. The first one is seek_cur. So this will point to the, here the file offset will point to the current position in the file, and then seek_set, it will go to the beginning of the file. It refers to the beginning of the file. And the third one, seek_end, it refers to the end of the file. So these are all the 3 whence values that can be used in used as third argument in the lseek function. All these values are defined under unistd.h. okay. So this is all about lseek function. So lseek function, it is used to change the file set to a different value, and it is used to make the random access of data in a file. So this is the prototype. The return value is either it will the updated file set if it is executed successfully, or -1 in case of any failures. It takes 3 arguments. The first one is the file descriptor, and the file descriptor value of a file to which it is referring, and second argument is position. So this is the value that has to be added to the referenced location, and the third one is whence. So it is a whence value. It has got 3 values. One is seek current, that means it points to the current position in a file, and then seek set, it points to the beginning of the file, seek end, it points to the end of the file. So in today's class we have discussed about read function, write function, and then close function, and next fcontrol function, and then lseek function. Okay. So read function, it is used to read fixed block of data from a file. Okay. It has got 3 parameters: the file descriptor, the buffer, followed by the number of bytes. Okay. So it returns the size underscore t, that means the bytes of data that will be read from the file. So next, write function or write API, it is used to write a fixed block of data to a file. Again, it has got 3 arguments. One is the file descriptor value of a file to which it has to write the data, and second one is the address of the buffer. So buffer, the content that has to be written into the buffer is a storage which contains the data that has to be written to a file, and third one, the number of bytes. Okay. Then we discussed about the close function. Close function, it is mainly used to terminate the connection to a file from the process. Okay. It is nothing but closing the opened file. So when it is getting closed, actually it takes only one argument, that is the file descriptor, and the return value will be either 0 if it is successful and -1 if there are any errors or any failure. So close function, it will free up all the allocated file descriptors so that those file descriptors can be reused once again. Okay, and it will deallocate the resources such as file table entry and buffers like that. So next we discussed about fcontrol, fcntl function. So fcontrol function is mainly used to set or retrieve or query the access control flags and close on exec flag. So fcontrol, we have already discussed how the fcontrol can be used to change the access control flag. So and then how we can change the close on exec flag, and then how we have changed the standard input of a process to a file. That means instead of the standard input, we have duplicated it to a file, and then how we can implement fcontrol function in order to implement the duplicate and duplicate 2 functions of the Unix operating system. Okay, we have already discussed that. And actually fcontrol function, it has got 3 arguments: the file descriptor, and second is the command value, and third one is depends on the second argument. Okay. So possible command values are f_get fl, f_set fl, f_get fd, and then f_set fd and f_dup fd, and we have already discussed the importance of these command values. And lastly, we have discussed about lseek function. As I already told you, it is used to change the file offset, it is used to make the random access of data on a file, and these 3 are the arguments. So file descriptor, and then position that has to be added to the reference location, and third one is the whence value. There are 3 possible whence values to represent to point to the current, beginning, and then end of a file. Okay. So here the file offset is nothing but a file pointer which refers to a particular location in a file. Okay. So hope you have understood all the concepts. Thank you.